This is a Naga Cave, more commonly known as the Naga Cave of Thailand. It gets its fame from its striking resemblance to a giant snake. Located in the Boyangkan province of Thailand, this cave holds myths and legends, and for a good reason. This cave resembles a giant snake so perfectly complete with a head, a body shape, and even scales, it has convinced many people who have visited the site that it's the actual real remains of a giant petrified snake. But is it? In Buddhist lore, the term Naga describes godlike creatures said to be half snake and half human, and that two Naga kings had created both Laos and the Mekong River, located in the northeastern region of Thailand, and that the cave itself is actually one of the kings sleeping in eternal slumber. Some who visited the cave speculate that it could be the petrified remains of a titan boa, a snake that lived 58 to 60 million years ago that grew up to 50 feet long, could have been 3 feet wide, and weighed over a ton, given what was found from fossilized remains. The fossilized remains of this giant snake were found in a coal mine by accident, consisting of a single vertebrae and 2 ribs, which were compared to a 17-foot anaconda to estimate its size. Even with the size of the titan boa, it's still nothing in comparison if the Naga Cave was an actual real snake. Not by a long shot. So unless they found the fossilized remains of titan boa babies and they were still that big, the titan boa theory is completely out of the question unless nature's trying to trick us into thinking way too hard and we're just staring at the evidence the entire time. But let's continue to think hard. Scientists say that the scaly features were formed through thermal expansion and water erosion. This means that the extreme temperature difference between night and day caused the rocks to expand and contract over the period of 100,000 years. And the water erosion is what gave the cave its sharp, scaly look. I mean, I am more of a man of science and I do believe that's actually what happened, but how do you describe the head? In the Arusha region of Tanzania near the Kenyan border, there sits a lake that is as beautiful as it is dangerous and cryptic. Lake Natron, covering an area of 58 square miles, is a protected lake due to its natural environmental conditions and its habitat of flamingos. Yeah, we'll get back to that one in a second. This lake has very high pH levels, which can cause burns and irritation to the skin and eyes, also reaching temperatures of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, making it impossible for most forms of natural life to survive in. One of the few forms of life able to survive in these conditions are called halochoria, probably butchered that name too, a type of microbe that thrives in salty waters. In fact, there's so much of the microbes that it gives the lake its striking, distinct red coloration. Flamingos use this lake as a safe place to live because the conditions of the lake keep predators at bay, and they survive by feeding off the microbe. Now, I told you why this lake is both beautiful and dangerous, but let me tell you why it's cryptic. Although this lake doesn't usually take the life of an animal, when an animal dies in that lake, the sodium carbonate minerals and the other salts calcifies their bodies. Ancient Egyptians have been known to use this method in their mummification process. The photos you are seeing are real. These animals were found and staged by a photographer named Nick Brandt, showing the end result of what this lake can do to bodies. Imagine being at a lake that nature itself painted red, and seeing these staged deceased animals. It's probably the closest thing you could get to a natural nightmare.